All right, free radicals, welcome back. I'm Dave, and I'm the Radical Independent. You might be too if you're still hanging out here. Had a great talk over the weekend with my friend Charles from the Vigilant Independent, and I think we both came to the conclusion that a Green Party candidacy would be better than a Libertarian Party candidacy because, again, Greens will speak to the working class voters in a way that I think they need to be spoken to at this point in time. And I've already covered that in videos. But I want to talk Tulsi here. And again, if you're a Tulsi fan, you should probably consider either the Green or Libertarian Party, at least during this election cycle. I have gotten all of my anger out on the situation probably a couple months ago. You know, the world has changed a lot since then. Tulsi's website is interesting, and it seems to me that it's being left up for a reason, and it was updated a little bit where it's more succinct than it was during the campaign, which I think is interesting because people used to ask me, so what does Tulsi believe on this issue or that issue? It's kind of hard to find. There was another website that a guy put up called tulsigabbard.org, which really delved into policy in a way that her own website didn't even do. So here we go. Tulsi will bring in a culture of leadership. And then just so you know, these donate buttons, they don't work. There's one up at the top. I'll hit it. You won't see me hit it. But it says that basically the owner has removed all committees or organizations from this page and no longer is processing contributions. So that's good. But I believe you could still put in your email address, zip code, phone number, and hit this button. And then down here, the same thing happens. I go to donate, and it doesn't work. And then there are videos here. Good, solid videos. These are the things that we'd like to see from major party presidential candidates, but we don't see it. We see stupid TV ads, mostly from Donald Trump, and it's how great he's handling everything. And it's almost like we're going to create our own false reality. And with Tulsi, you did get, up until the very end, you did get what I think she truly believes. And she asks good questions here. First, does America need Tulsi Gabbard? Serving the American people at home. And then civil liberties. Right off the bat, there are a lot of people on both the left and the right. And one thing I would wish the Green Party would emphasize more are civil liberties. There are a lot of people that think the Greens are neo-lib authoritarians, even though I've talked to people within the Green Party and they tell me, nope, that's not true. But civil liberties are very much at the forefront these days. Are you worried about constitutional freedoms? Now, this is her first page on her website. And if I go down, are you worried about gerrymandering? Interesting second issue. And institutional attempts to dismantle democracy. It's a very Green Party kind of sounding thing. I think it's also kind of libertarian as well. But here we go. Again, this is why I'm not trying to sheep herd anyone from Tulsi to Howie Hawkins. I've tried that and failed. You guys don't like Howie. All right? I will likely vote for Howie or Joe Jorgensen for president. One of the two. All right? Got my libertarian shirt on today. Could have my Green Party shirt on tomorrow. It's tough. It's tough for me because there are some things, economically speaking, that Joe and I would have to sit down and she'd have to come on and I'd have to just really grill her. I mean, private charity is not going to make up the difference for the black and brown community right now. Just, it isn't, unless it changes overnight because of what's happening. And if it does, I don't see how you hold that accountable because it's voluntary. Anyway, she goes off on environment and green economy. Green economy, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I wish she had just pulled up stakes. She could have gone over to the Green Party and been a rock star immediately. And I don't mean a celebrity. I mean a rock star politically speaking. And again, she goes on, environment and protection. Of course, she stood with the protesters at Standing Rock. I recognize the need to work with other countries such as India and China to reach long-term goals. Because really, you can't have just better environmental policy within the United States borders. This is why the whole regime change war stuff is very important, because if you're at war with somebody, or if you're meddling in their country's business, there's no way you're going to get any kind of environmental policy. For those of you who may go out and vote for Joe Biden, keep in mind that Joe Biden will ramp up military activities in every state where we want to, state meaning every country, where we want to change their leadership in order for us to have natural resources and our version of American, so-called American democracy in that country. By the way, that won't lead to any cooperation on environmental issues. Just won't, because you're going to have a country fighting you for self-determination. Healthcare for all. This is interesting. Again, more of a green issue than a libertarian issue, and this is why when you break this down, she is a green, all right? She may be more of a right of center green, but I think a lot of people would vote for that if the Green Party ran a candidate who was like Tulsi Gabbard. Howie Hawkins has made no bones about his love of socialism, but his version of socialism isn't the version that the media spouts on a daily basis. I'm just trying to go along here and explain all these things so you have a perspective. Lobbying, she talks about special interest groups. I mean, this is the dream candidate. Social Security and seniors. Making sure it's solvent. Making sure premiums go up and not down. They're talking about cuts to Social Security. Joe Biden talked about that. War diplomacy and international trade. So, again, she's libertarian when it comes to international trade. She talks about having experience on the House Committee for Armed Services and the Subcommittee on Emerging Threats and Capabilities. Is she a hawk? I think she is a little bit of a hawk, but she's a calculated hawk. She's not a full-blown hawk. She's only a hawk when she's got the intelligence, I guess, at her fingertips. But she would be far, far better than Trump or Biden. And, you know, theoretically, she might be the same as a Howie Hawkins or a Joe Jorgensen in that area. None of these people are going to get the war machine cut completely if they were elected. So, again, she talks about regime change wars, caring for our veterans. I mean, this is all really good stuff. And then you can even view more issues. So, this website and the way it's designed and the fact that it's still up in its current format would lead me to believe that Tulsi Gabbard might be seeking the presidency in the year 2024. This is the first time that I've really analyzed this, and she's young enough. She's had some experiences. I think she's banking on the fact, too, that the Clintons will lose their stronghold over the party to some degree. She's cooperating with the whole Biden thing, whereas she walked off before and did not cooperate with the Hillary thing. So it's calculated. And, you know, the Tulsi fans, I guess they leave comments, because Charles was telling me about comments like, Dave, you've finally seen the light. She's smart. She's politically smart. She's savvy. But there's an element to that part of this which we all hate, which is you have to kind of play the game in order to get anywhere. And she's banking on the fact that her goodwill, her demeanor, her personality, the force of her character and so forth will bowl everybody over. And at some point, they're all going to say, you know what, Tulsi's got a better idea. Let's listen to Tulsi Gabbard. Possibly, but probably not. I mean, the same people will come out of the woodwork with the stuff about Syria, and, is Assad a dictator, and whatever else, they're going to say she's soft on dictators. They'll do anything to keep someone out who's not heavily invested in the war machine, who wants to maybe even just slightly curtail. And I think that's what we have to hope for, that she can slightly curtail this. But the super big downside to this, folks, is it ain't going to happen until 2024. All right? And if you're more libertarian-minded, Joe Jorgensen pretty much agrees with Tulsi Gabbard on foreign policy. In fact, I think the libertarians are not only inclined to say regime change wars, but also to say that pretty much all wars that don't have our vital national interests at heart should be stopped. Not just regime change. Because Afghanistan isn't regime change, right? Iran could be, Iraq isn't. I mean, wherever we have a base of operations, you have to look at it and say, well, this might not be regime change, but it certainly doesn't have anything to do with us. Let's bring the money home. And everybody from the Green Party to the Libertarian Party says, let's bring the money home. And that was Tulsi's campaign idea as well, except toward the end, especially on the Jimmy Dore show, she said, hey, there are some missions that we do that are good missions. So my question, again, to her would be which ones, and be specific. And does it really involve our vital national interests? I know killing terrorists, which, again, it's I mean, how long are we going to do this for? Do we have to do it for our entire existence? Does our presence there generate more terrorism? Just us being there? I mean, and that's a question that I think she and others have to answer. I think if you're a strong libertarian, you're going to say our presence there is affecting how that country views us. And again, Greens as well. Most of the Greens and libertarians believe the same thing on this, that we should just get out and curb the military. I am not somebody that believes we should eliminate the military. So to my friend Dario Hunter, who I've had on this broadcast one time, that was his belief, set up a Department of Peace, but we need some type of standing army. We do. I'm not going to say we don't. That would be, I think, very naive and foolish. I mean, you just never know what kind of natural disaster or other calamity is going to befall a country, like COVID-19, for instance, and you can direct some of these military resources over to fighting the pandemic rather than some enemy that's not defined in some other country. So good on Tulsi Gabbard, I guess, for condensing this information. And basically, she's going to keep her name out there. This whole thing is and my hunch is she wants a job. She wants a job, and there are people that are saying, imagine if Biden picks Tulsi. It would be awesome if Biden picked Tulsi, and yes, full disclosure, if Biden chose, this is the first time I'm saying this, if Biden chose Tulsi, I'd have to vote for Biden, because I don't think Biden's going to be upstairs very long. So he'd have to step aside, and wow, that would be a dream. But I don't think the DNC is going to allow Tulsi to be the choice. But imagine all the voters that Tulsi would pull from all the Trump people who are already on the edge. I don't know what Mitt Romney and George W. Bush would do, though, because they are so neoconservative, and right now they are loving Joe Biden. I heard one commentator who is neocon, not commentator, I'm sorry. I heard my local congressman who's retiring, his name is Rooney, and he's a piece of work. He gets nothing done. He was elected to supposedly support Trump, and then he turns on Trump, and again, I'm not saying turning on Trump is a bad idea, but the people in this district really like Trump. So this guy committed political suicide, which, you know, he's quitting anyway. He's resigning. So he commits the political suicide, and then he quits. And then he says how great Biden is, he says, what's not to like about Joe Biden? Wow. So, yeah. Politically speaking, I had an exchange with Marianne Williamson on Twitter today, and I might do a video about that. And it's as bad as we think. It really is. It might be worse. I mean, Marianne Williamson, didn't everybody think she was some kind of cool, spiritual, progressive, outsider guru type? And then she's fallen in line. We have to remove Trump. And put in place what? Put in place who? Now, if you had a Biden-Tulsi ticket, yeah, I mean, I'd have to take a chance on that, because guess what? Because Biden might not be around for very long. He may not function for all that long. And Tulsi Gabbard as vice president, oh boy, she would be outspoken. She would be a unifying, smart person who would certainly bring in a lot of independent voters. And yeah, but who's to say she'd be able to influence the foreign policy from the outset? But just wait. The longer she's there, the better off things might get. And I have to take a chance on that. That's a better chance than, in a sense, voting Green or voting Libertarian, because if she were on the ticket, then I could say, well, there's a chance Tulsi Gabbard might be the president soon. And and that works out really good for me. So that's my theory. I'll stick to it for now, but I'll update it as time goes on. Tulsi Gabbard for president in 2021, 2022. See, that's what I'm talking about. Maybe she knows something that we don't. Maybe she's already been promised something for being good, for being a good Democratic soldier right now. She's been told, hey, look, we'll get you into the administration. No guarantees at what the position will be, and you know, Tulsi, I don't think Tulsi would take that for granted. I think she would make the most of it. There are certain places where I don't think she'll be made a cabinet position, like Secretary of State. It'd be awesome, but she's not going to be. She's got all of the qualifications to be Secretary of State. And I think if she went around the world and spoke to countries and tried to negotiate deals and showed the good faith of, you know, what she believes in, she would be a great negotiator and somebody who would certainly ratchet tensions down. She would not be a fan of regime change war, and so I think that would be awesome. The question is, would Biden allow it? Would he allow it? Would the DNC allow this to happen? The answer is probably not. The odds-on favorite, and she's just the polar opposite of Tulsi Gabbard, would be Kamala Harris. And in fact, Kamala's career was curtailed by Tulsi's debate takedown. So I'm sure Tulsi, and if he does pick Kamala, that can't make Tulsi feel so good about being the soldier, the good soldier that she is being. So we'll see. Again, you start to see a little better once the clouds move away. And I had some cloudy stuff right after she dropped out where I was angry. And I'm still, to some degree, a little angry. But she is better stock than still 99% of the people in politics today. And I mean that. All right, I'm done. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and PayPal for one-time or multiple-time donations. It's David J. Spurrier at gmx.com for PayPal donations. All much appreciated. See you soon.